what you're offering. Phone's lighting up, I'm just gonna let it rain. Yeah, my phone's lighting up, I'm just gonna let it rain. Is it the liquor in my system? My desires are so real. Got me caught up in this rhythm. Draw me in and make it feel. Draw me in and make it feel. Draw me in and make it feel. But you look so good and I know what you're offering. Phone's lighting up, I'm just gonna let it rain. Yeah, my phone's lighting up, I'm just gonna let it rain. Is it the liquor in my system? My desires are so real. Got me caught up in this rhythm. Draw me in and make me feel. Make me feel. SOS. 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 I got you yelling SOS. Thought you was a threat. I do real life, do no tip for tat. On the internet, girl, I do that. See, I've been a threat, and I've been a vet. Thought you knew that way, I'm cashing checks. I don't owe no debts. I've been through that. See you SOS. 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 See you SOS. Need a life vest. Need no mic check. SOS. 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 See you SOS. We don't talk checks. We get to it. We get to it, yeah. Yeah, we do it, yeah. I go up. We influence.
Good morning all. Yes sir, hope everyone is good, everyone is well. Happy Monday. Let's get it. Update you guys about what's gone on. Quite a few things, to be honest. We had quite a lot of developments over the weekend regarding the Middle East tensions, but everything is clear, which is good. So yeah, let's have a look at what we got going on today. We start off with the calendar here. Let's go. Today's going to be Monday. We have CPI for CAD, not really too important here. We have Fed speaking on Tuesday, and then Wednesday we have GBP CPI. Not too much USD news this week. Yeah, pretty calm on the USD side, but we do have fundamental drivers in the market. So if you guys have been living under a rock, you will notice that the market has opened here on a gap. So I think we all saw that. This is a gap on gold. It's going to have the same thing on DAX. This is a gap here on DAX. You can see it. We also have on NASDAQ a gap here. And you'll find SPX has a gap. And you'll find US 30 has a gap. So most assets here opening on a gap. Oil will be a gap up. as we can see there. And why? This is because of escalation of tensions in the Middle East, right? Basically, I said this over the weekend that we would expect this gap down. I said on NASDAQ, if you guys watched the webinar, that I expect the Friday move to be retraced, and that has happened. We have basically came back to where our breakout was on Friday. So was correct in seeing that happen actually, which is pretty typical to see that. Now, what escalation has happened? Well, essentially, we have quite a few things that we need to consider here and quite a few important factors right now. First of all, the main news is that the strait was closed. It was open again. Now they've closed the Strait of Hormuz again. The other news is that obviously we've had a bit of exchange of fighting between ships being attacked, as well as an Iranian ship trying to breach through essentially through the naval blockade, right? And they went and attacked that ship because they were not complying. So bit of escalation here. Now, one drill that I want to do is I want to show you every single gap. So let's go mark every gap with this type of box tool here. And we can go show you a little pattern. We're going to mark every war gap that we've had since the beginning of this escalation. That's it. 2 recently. There's the last one. There's a gap up. It's a small one here. All right, we'll just do these for now. I want to concentrate on the last 2. But essentially what we saw is whenever we gapped, we eventually filled before the real move here, right? And the real move has always been after the gap has been filled, basically, is what I'm trying to say here. Same thing here. We try some upside, we fill the gap, then there's always a bounce from the gap fill here, always. Now, the last 2 I really want to focus on a little bit more here, okay? Because these last 2 is the same, because we were gapping up. Now look at the gaps down. So this is the last gap that we saw here, okay? Which was essentially, we started to trade opposite of the gap direction. Okay, so this is what happened in the last gap, is we traded opposite of the gap direction, meaning we gapped down, we started to fill that gap, and then trade opposite. Could we expect the same thing here? Yeah, we could, but what's the difference here? Well, here's one interesting thing. Where did we retest? We retest the mini gap that we formed here, which is interesting to see, right? Which is basically the top of last time's gap. So I want you guys to notice that. Where did we just retest? We retest the top end of last time's gap, right? So this is very interesting to see that point there. This tells me this is like a flip point. If we lose this level here, I expect heavy downside to continue. If we maintain this level, then I expect consolidation and potentially upside technical wise. Any more escalation will lead to price moving towards the downside. Okay? Any escalation will lead price towards the downside. So what does that mean for us? Well, we can be on the technical side and then be aware of the potential fundamental side. So fundamentally, any escalation can send price towards the downside. But until that happens, this has already been priced in. So we could actually look for that gap to be eventually filled here, followed by what we saw last time was some heavy consolidation. It didn't happen immediately, but we consolidated. In the beginning, we had a good push here, and then after that, which is kind of similar to what we've had now, we've had partial gap fill, same thing here, mostly gap fill there, and then we ranged, and then a move came. So similar price action that we're seeing right now. To go for the full gap fill, I feel like maybe we could range a little bit more. We'll have to see how price action forms. But if we don't escalate, then I expect price to do what? To eventually fill this gap now. Problem is, on Wednesday we have a deadline. We have a deadline of what may happen or what may not happen. It is the deadline for the ceasefire. Now, I'm not going to make any solid predictions, but I do have a feeling that they might just give a 1 week extension for more talks. And leading up to it, meaning today and tomorrow, we've already had some scares with ships being attacked, and that's kind of playing into that narrative. So let's see what ends up happening. This type of escalation is going to shake investors as they don't know what to do or how to price this in. And they obviously don't want to be risk on at the moment here. So we need to consider that. As we can see, price is kind of consolidating at the moment, very low volume. Every time we try to break lower, we get bought back up, basically into the same zone. Since around 7 o'clock this morning, we're in the same place. That's about 3 hours. So for 3 hours, we've been ranging in the same place, making slightly lower lows, but not really moving in a certain direction. 1 hour time frame is closing bullish here. We obviously have 4 hour time frames trying to bounce from these potential zones here, and then daily time frame from last time closed bullish, but we're leading something that looks like this. So ideally, in an ideal sense, it is a bullish session, but we have to consider this gap here kind of changes things a little bit, which can make sense, it being a bullish session with obviously the idea of the gap going to be filled. So I would like to see a breakout out of these zones here, some volume start to come in. Then we could maybe look to trade back to that high, which is also the 1 hour high. We would also be breaking the 1 hour high as well. Not 1 hour high, but 1 hour resistance. We'd also be breaking the 1 hour candle high. And that could be kind of our options. Now to sell, we need to, I don't want to sell lows here, because every time we've closed on a new lower low, it is basically and essentially just failed, right? Every time we have closed on a new lower low, failed, right? So lower low failed. So I want to see, look at this liquidity grab. So I want to see that again today. I might have to also wait for some form of manipulation as well, which is kind of what we've been seeing and something we want to see. Moving on to Nasdaq here. Nasdaq, oops. We tried to close below here on Nasdaq on the 15, never broke the lows here. Let's go start from the daily time frame. Obviously, we are still at all-time highs on CFDs, not on futures. We are pushing very, very hard here at the highs. 4 hour time frame did have this gap down. We retraced mostly Friday's move, retested around that zone. Now we're trying to bounce back up. 1 hour is the same kind of story as gold. We have attempted a little bit of a gap fill, but not completed the full gap fill. Now we're starting to pull back in towards this range. If we look at 5 minute, we have a clean support here, which is followed by these supports. Until we lose this, there's no sells. We could sell back towards that. That is an option there. From the bottom of the range here, you know, we are playing out a little bit of a bounce buy at the moment from the bottom of the range. So let's see if this wants to continue throughout the top of the range, or do we create resistance and we start to look for sells down from here, because that could also make sense. Only thing, yeah, we have 1 hour close below structure. We have 30 minute close below structure with a rejection wick. 15 minute would create a resistance. We could possibly look to sell back down and play the range, because since pre-session here, we've been working on this like lower high, lower low movement. We actually technically did make a lower low on most time frames. New lower low on 1 hour, 30 and 15. The only time frame we didn't is the 5, but that's why we're kind of getting the reaction. So let's see if we can get kind of the same thing here. Changes of structure, plus 15 minute candle bearish close. And that should lead us into some form of sells there. Just to have a quick look at something like DAX, see what's happening on DAX here, because it's going to be a similar story with this gap sitting here. DAX has not even attempted much to fill this gap. So DAX would be nice if it goes towards and ends up filling the gap. Daily time frame obviously still bullish from that. 4 hour time frames is closing bearish at the moment. This is going to follow what Nasdaq does. Right now we're sitting at like this previous 1 hour, right? P1R. This is kind of our resistance that now we're using as support. If we can hold above this, we probably try to make our way back towards our upside. There's no obvious buys just yet because we're trading back into our previous range and there's not obvious sells. So I kind of feel like, you know, you could take a gamble and try to pick one side, but It doesn't look one-sided to me at the moment. So I rather sell below these lows, use this as a clean candle area, capitalize off that. If I'm gonna buy, wait for a little bit more information to give me a clear bias of where we want to move. Obviously, trading inside of the gap here could be an option, and then we'll see what ends up happening. The gaps are like LTAs, essentially, yes, but you have to look at what's behind the gap. So whenever you have a gap, you have to check out what's behind the gap. So, you know, here you can see it's clean. So we're not too worried, but if behind it is some major resistances, they still count, right? That's the key about trading gaps. The thing today is most pairs and indices are going to move the same time. Yeah, they will move the same time, and but the direction not necessarily the same direction. But if we do get a move, we should move overall, you know, on all assets. So let's keep an eye on everything and then see what ends up happening. But appreciate you guys showing up to the analysis, you know. And let's see what we got. Make sure to leave a like on the stream. You know the drill, guys. 170 of us in here. Get the likes up to, let's try 80. I would appreciate that. Hate to say it, part of the game, the YouTube business. So yeah. Morning, man. Bitcoin bullish. If we're looking here at Bitcoin, it is looking a little bit healthier, you know, but we're just ranging in this zone here. We tried a breakout here. We're coming back to retest my second box here. It's not looking doom and gloom at the moment. It's looking quite good if these high lows can hold. I'm quite happy with it. We could see one more retest down into these levels. I wouldn't be surprised to see price come back into the 65Ks. Really not out of the ordinary to see something like that. You know, it wouldn't be crazy. It wouldn't be crazy. Every time oil goes up, Bitcoin should go down because it's energy dependent. Essentially, it would have a long-term factor on Bitcoin mining, yes. So we're starting to create resistances on the 5, but the 5 has not tested anything. So we can't just take this trade based off the 5 when the 5 has not come back and tested anything, because we have all this room to test. Right, look at this. Look at all the highs that were made, always have tested something. Right? If we take this example here, we tested this structure. Right? If we take these examples here, this structure was tested, this was tested. Here, when we made this lower high, we tested this tiny structure here. Always test something. So we either need to make a tiny structure like that. Otherwise, I don't trust this move. It's a fake move. Previous 1 hour, maybe. Let's have a look. Yeah, you could count, but it's not rejecting right at the previous 1 hour, right? Oh, it is. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that is right at it. It could be something, yes. I mean, the scary thing about the charts as well is this is only a 5-minute, right? So we have to put trust in one direction today, and a lot of the time we filled some of these gaps that have gapped down, right? If we look at this, you see, a lot of the time we have led into eventual gap fills. So that's the only thing that worries me, is that I'm not fully sold on bearish unless new fundamental news comes out. I'm not fully sold on bearish price action. So I don't want to be like full sending sells. Yeah, you can look, broke the low, triggered everyone to sells, now pulling back. Harry, any thoughts on silver? Of course, we can have a look at silver here. Should be pretty similar to gold. Start off on weekly here. I haven't looked at it in the webinar. Yeah, strong close there. Daily time frame, okay, close bullish here. Working on this daily resistance up here. Let's add that. Yeah, a bit more difficult than gold here because we've basically filled the gap already, right? Sells make more sense right now. Selling lows on silver have been a lot better than gold because we don't fake out. You can see here we closed new low, we had continuation. Even this liquidity grab wasn't too nasty. It gave you continuation first before the liquidity grab. So maybe 15-minute setup twos, retracements, something to sell back lower could work well on silver. Hi, what do you think about swing trading on props to pass the challenges if there's no consistency rule? What would be the difference though? Harry, do you use an indicator for flat numbers? No, I just draw it myself. Like if you are thinking about swing trading to pass a prop firm because it's gonna make money, let's say it's gonna make 10 grand to pass a 10K, then why wouldn't you just do that when you pass it? I mean, if it's that easy that I can just decide, okay, let me swing trade and make 10 grand to pass phase 1, I would do that when I pass the challenge so that I could just make 10 grand and take a payout. Right? We are still holding this level here, so we could see something. This candle closes in 14 minutes, long time. It's really a doji. That's not really a good change of structure. I would like to see one more 5-minute candle close bullish. Then we could close bearish. That would be quite nice, actually. Then I could look for some sort of sells. Taking a sell with another 5-minute candle close here, it's going to be like very aggressive. Very aggressive. So I'd rather see that 5 bullish first. Please check silver. It's going down. We just looked at silver. It's going to be following the same practically as gold with the bearishness. Prefer a 15 bearish on silver would be quite nice. Again, the market should basically move together. So if silver goes down, I expect Nasdaq to go down. If you pull up two charts, you can see they'll be moving quite similar. We could actually pull two charts. Let's pull silver here. Silver. And you can see, look. Just want to change to a 15-minute. When Nasdaq is bearish, silver is bearish. If Nasdaq flips bullish here, maybe we should see silver pop up a little bit. You know, so Nasdaq is pushing up. Now let's see if buyers come into silver. Now we can see if it's really the same market participants. It won't be one-to-one, but see, look, boom. Yeah, buyers came into silver right now. You see? Nasdaq flipped bullish, buyers came into silver. Let's see, the more buyers that come into Nasdaq, maybe the more buyers we get into silver. So if probably Nasdaq re-breaks its own high, then silver might flip actually bullish. You know? It's possible. We're seeing it be quite shared, it should be. If Nasdaq flips back bearish, then, you know, silver can hold a bit of the bears. That's why I want the 15 close, because then it's going to be clear, right? We can see the fight right now happening between buyers and sellers. But now Nasdaq is flipping bearish, which is going to be good for silver. But I want this 5-minute to close bullish on Nasdaq. So I really hope this 5-minute can flip bullish. That was going to be nice to have a good solid bullish candle close. Selling this low here is possible after 1 minute, but it's going to be a bit of a very aggressive trade. I don't know how I feel about that on a Monday. Not fully sold on the sells, remember? Gold has a better change of structure here. But no top wick on the 15. We'll just double check that on the broker. See here on broker. Yeah, we have a top wick on broker. It's very small. Alright, this is doing actually what I wanted it to do, which is close bullish here. Isn't it technically bullish bias? It technically is, but if we never had a gap down, what would have happened, right? Because we're just bouncing from the gap down that is giving us a bullish bias. You get what I mean? So we can't really use bias in this session right now because there is no bias at the moment. And I said I'm more on the side of looking for buys because that's what we normally do is we go and we fill the gap. Which prop firms you use? I use Top Step and You Funded. So we got the bullish candle close. This will not close with the 15. We still have 2 more 5s for the 15. But at least now if we close down below here, we're having a proper break of structure, right? So that's exactly what I wanted. That's what I was speaking about. To get that. How you do NAS and gold in London? I've always done gold in London. The thing I've added recently, not so recent, but which is new compared to, let's say, last year, is Nasdaq. Yeah, Nasdaq moves are not bad in London. It's actually been moving better than gold in London. So gold here is just a bit choppy. If we can see here, the ranges don't make sense. You're taking break of low here. It's giving you about 60 pips, stop loss about 65 pips. But not really clean price action the way it's moving on gold. Very sketchy. Can you look at oil? Yeah, we can have a look at oil in a minute. It will be the same analysis as Nasdaq, just the opposite way around. Morning, Harry. Quick question. No more streaming London sessions on Friday. I stream London sessions on Friday, just not on YouTube. I'm enjoying just doing it with the private group. It's a very focused session, a lot of good questions. It's a different vibe. So I'm actually enjoying doing that. I think I'm going to keep it like that for now. NAS is better than DAX at the moment. Yes, it's more consistent than DAX at the moment. Yes. Is this a good idea to swing gold right now? That's a silly question because you don't give me any context. For a buy, up to you. If you want to gamble, you're gambling that there will be no escalation in the war. If you're correct about that, then you're going to win the trade. If you're not correct about that, it's going to go to your stop loss. Can we look at orange juice? Yes, there's always time for orange juice. So yeah, it's up to you, man. If you can tell me that the war is not going to escalate and they're going to strike a deal, then you're going to have a great position. But I rather have shorted Nasdaq on Friday and done this and bought oil rather than be on the long side just yet. But yeah, definitely if that's the only thing you're risking. You're risking if they escalate the war, you lose. If they don't, then yeah, totally valid. So it's just hard to play between that. So we have about 50 seconds before this Nasdaq close here. Let's see if this Nasdaq can close a bit stronger to give us, now we have a change of structure here, giving us a bit more of an idea for sells. Volume is not the best here, as we can see. Quite consolidating on the 1 minute, which I don't like. So I'd like to see in the last 30 seconds we get a strong convicting 1 minute candle that breaches this 1 minute range, not just to consolidate. If this 5 minute candle closes weak, I still just don't trust it. I don't want to be trading when there's range. Right? This is one thing I've learned in Nasdaq. When you see range like this, no matter what session, even NY session, normally leads to bad price action. And I'm talking about this range, not this range. This is different. This is with gap. This is very tight consolidation. See, normally when you get this type of range, it's a lot of BS. Comes back down, breaks a low, reverses. Look at this, same thing here. Comes back down, reverses again, then goes. Oh yeah, everyone's favorite song is now on. So we're looking at oil. We'll have a look at crude oil at the moment. Obviously, we had this gap up, which is bullish. Very simple. More escalation here. We should see this start to fill. If we start to see this de-escalation talks coming, we will see this gap fill towards the downside. For the session at the moment, it's going to be very similar to gold and to Nasdaq, just the opposite way around. So start to lose these type of levels here, 91, 100. We could see some further downside. Now there is an opportunity to play a little bit of a bounce here, which would mean that the assets like Nasdaq and stuff like that start to sell off. If they sell off, then the bounce on gold would start to make, on oil will start to make sense. So let's see what happened to Nas. Yeah, look at this. This is just becoming a bit choppy now. So I'm glad we're not part of that choppiness. In 3 minutes here, we will also have the 15-minute close. So this will interest me. What if Delirious is actually the theme song? Nah. So we need to see a strong 15-minute candle close bearish if we want to try sells. At least where my mouse is. We can't take a weak candle like this. Well, I don't want to take a weak like this because it just means the 1 minute's ranging. So if we get that strong 50-minute candle closing bearish, it's going to mean that the 1 minute has broken out the range as well. Now, obviously, this range at some point will resolve, but it might resolve with a liquidity grab up, down, we don't know. Ripping Delirious at the first group meet? Let's see, last 1 minute of the 15 here. Let's see if we can close a little bit stronger. Probably have to close below this type of area here. Something like that, which would also be getting below the 5. But I don't think this will close below the 1 minute, no. If we want to close below the 1 minute, we need to close here, which would be perfect. Where that line is. If we close like this, it means nothing. The 5 might actually close bullish in that sense, which will lead the 15 to close bullish here. And then again. All right. So patience has paid a virtue here. We've tried to snap out the range here on a gap up open. Same thing we have on futures, bigger gap on futures actually. 1 minute was respected. And that's it. So now we need to see what price wants to do. 15 closed bullish. So no sells just yet. We have a gap up open here and some random volume coming through here. Now we don't know where this volume is going to end right now. Let's see if the same thing happened on gold. Yeah, gold is pushing up. Something is happening. Gold just retraced most of its move. DAX as well pushed up here. Nasdaq obviously pushing up. We have silver probably doing the same. Yep. So this is a scary thing when all the markets move together, because it means one party is controlling the narrative in today's session. Frankfurt opened already 30 minutes ago. What happened to you guys on YouTube chat? Normally you guys are very noisy. All sleeping. It's Monday, time to wake the fuck up, man. Guys all sleeping. A full week of trading ahead of you. You sleep now, you cry later. Just need strong accumulation to be broken, decent retest to indicate enough volume. Yeah. Something just said Bitcoin and altcoins moving. Yeah, we've had the same thing. We've had the same thing in indices as well, right? We had this bullish pressure. Let's see on Bitcoin as well. Yeah, same thing, right? The 30-minute gold can flip. I'll take a sell. Yeah, just be careful. Look, every time we have closed on a new low, same pattern back here. This is the same pattern. We broke the low, we retraced, broke the high. So what will make this time different? That's my question. What would make this time different? Bro, I bought for swing position bottom of this year. Did you? What do you mean you bought for swing position? I don't understand that. Even though the 1 hour and 4 hour previous candles closed bullish, you still feel sell as an option? I mean, I wasn't saying to sell on the 30-minute here. I said we need more conviction to take sells at the moment. We're not going up, that's for sure. We're not going up, that's for sure. So we're just seeing a lot of bearish price action, but we're also, every time we close on a lower low, we retrace, lower low, retrace. So what if we put in a higher low right now? We might start the upside. It's in one of those moments. So remember that 4 hour also closed bullish because we had a gap down and price was recovering some of that gap. If we never had a gap down, how do you think bias would look? So today, London session, you can't really consider too much of bias because we have a gap in the mix. Tomorrow, yes. Triple Q long-term buy? Yeah, I still have my long-term buy, right? It's the same buy I have. This buy here. Did you add? No, I don't have money to add, bro. I don't have money to add, bro. If I add, I need to add what? 100K, $150,000. I have real estate payments and stuff like this. Full broke? No, it's not that I'm full broke. I could add on here, but why should I add when this position already running P&L, you know, above 200 grand? I don't need to add to a position that I'm okay with. and then lock up money, you know. I don't want to add and lock up money and then get stuck. Especially at this point here, if any escalation happened and it reversed and stuff like that, and it comes back down to here, like this is not that's not the best buy. Like I like to add to the position 20% dump, because this already here 55% dump. I should not be adding. Minimum I need 20% dump. So here, that is my add. Next 20% dump, which would be here, that is my add. If we pop up here, 20% dump, that is my add. You see, that is the best way to add, is on 20% dumps. Is the real estate down in Dubai? No, I have a lot of people offering me to buy what I have. It's not down. So many people are asking to buy because they think it's down. What is down is the overhyped stuff. It's shaking out the weak hands, right? The stuff that was always going to lose. You know? And that's what people always forget, is they think it's super simple. I mean, that was always going to lose. So that did take an impact when people are paying $1 million for a studio. It's like, come on, bro. When you can buy a townhouse for that same price. Monaco prices, yeah, they're just buying in hype areas and they think it's the next hot shot and I don't know what, and then you just lose money. You know? Or I think it's like a 1-bedroom. It's a 1-bedroom for that. It's like too much, you know? So those are going to be impacted because, yeah, they bought, you know, on hype. So, of course, now no one wants that, because even back then, that was like a bad. But the actual value investments, the stuff that people actually want and they just can't get their hands on. Like I buy in a community that has only 40 townhouses. That's the only amount that they're building of that exact project. It's very hard. People want to be part of that, but they can't because there's only 40 people who own that. And it's not only 40 people, it's less. Because where we bought, the whole row is owned by me and my friend. The whole row of townhouses. Well, he owns the majority. I own one of them. But he owns the row. So we control that whole row. What TradingView membership do you recommend? The most basic one. That's the one I have. It's called the Essential. That's amazing, bro. I also have a townhouse in a small complex. They do so well. Yeah, it's like a perfect thing because townhouses rents are not so high that families won't move into them, and also that they're nice for families and they generate a nice yield for the cost of them. How big is a townhouse? Mine is 2,000 square feet. That's typically how big. 1.9, 2,000. Yeah, decent size, man. I think the built-up area is like 2.2, 2,200 square feet. They give you a garden and stuff like that. Yeah, it's not a small. That's why they're good value, you know. 2,000 without garden, yeah. 1.9 maybe without garden. Depends if they calculate balcony or not. So between 1.9 and 2,000. 3 bedrooms. 3 bedrooms. it would cost $3,500 to $4,000 to rent that here. 4,000. Yeah, that's the same here. Same here. Probably that would cost around like 190 per year. 190,000 divided by 3.67. $51,000 a year to rent a townhouse like that. So you could say 40 to 50,000, you know? Depends, market conditions, stuff like that. I'm keeping an eye on NASDAQ, guys. It's just not closing bearish just yet. It's trying now. But you know, the 5-minute has not broken structure. I was hoping this 5 would do some business close here. But we're still respecting structures. It's a bit choppy. Whenever I see lower time frame like this again, remember what I said. This choppiness leads to a spike. Spike comes back into the country. You know. I also have property in UK. I want to move to Mauritius. Then I heard about the difficulties of owning properties and being out of the country with the ID. Just get this Keir Starmer out and problems will solve. Giving us headaches there. I'm getting fines from HRMC. And I've never lived in UK, but now I'm getting fines from HRMC. So just deal with him. I work in Cape Town and my company has a branch in Mauritius. Oh, cool. Harry, can you please look at this GPU? I went to break even 75% of the move. Let's have a look. It's just loading, mate. Give it a sec. Alright. This is on the 5-minute. Yeah, a bit of an aggressive one here. Let me check on 15, man. I would prefer to see some sort of 15 confirmation. So you've gone here. We'll draw lines so we see where you've gone. See the 15. Interesting one. Yeah, I think the break even is correct. This entry here is a little bit more on the aggressive side. At least you have the 1-minute structure, which is saving you. If you didn't have that, this one would be game over. I would not even consider this, you know. The idea is not too bad. I just prefer to see, you know, some sort of 30 confirmation. That you have, you know, you're going against quite a lot here, you know. So sometimes it makes that very risky that this ends up being a fake out. Today it hasn't, because you have some of that 1 minute to help you, but other times it can be super risky. So just consider that, you know, if you know that going into the position, it's fine. How did you request the payout on Top Step, Wise or bank account? Account transfers headache. Wise is better, bro. I did both, but Wise. Wise is a lot faster as well, man. 2 days, 1 day. Apparently now they are even faster now. Looking, I need to open business account with them. Yeah, I think it's different for you. Depends on your thing. Then just do bank transfers. Not a big deal. You just lose on euro to dollar conversion. We don't lose because we're fixed. Looking to short UJ. Good daily upside. Bottom wick resistance about to close below. Yeah, I would be careful full shorting the lows here. Bro, where are you reading these questions from? Entertain me, bro. Just watch. You shall be entertained. Questions I'm reading from this chat. I have another chat here. This is the exclusive group. Yeah, I want NAS 15 to close bearish. Just wanted to get clarification about top steps, so I got 50k account. After completing 3k profit challenge, I'm aware I need to pay 149 for the but do I get anything as it says earn while you learn? Bro, I have no idea why they say earn while you learn. Most people lose on prop firms. That is some sort of like BS marketing gimmick. I wouldn't fall for earn what to learn. That's crazy. That's crazy coming from a prop firm to tell you that. When statistically most people lose on prop firms and they're telling you earn while you learn. Like, come on, man. It's true, they earn while you learn. That's true, that's true. We have to research it. You have to send me where they put that ad, man. I have to see. Maybe they have some new program or something. That would be interesting. Do you trade GBP JPY? I used to trade GBP JPY. I just don't trade it anymore because the price action is not the best. But let's see what it's doing today. I'm interested. Oh, setup one coming. Setup one coming. Man, people are sleeping on this yen carry trade. This is going to be a big market impact long term. You still trade gold? Yes, definitely. What would you recommend on Top Step? What do you mean? What do you mean, what would I recommend? I hate the strat? What do you mean you hate the strat? You're not taking a sell on gold. For me, it's not ready for a sell. If you have been in a sells, it's just been ranging. 30-minute candle has not gone anywhere. Tried to test some upside. That upside failed. 5-minute candles are now going sideways here. Hey, Arian, mixed bias if previous 1 hour and 30 closed bearish, but tap support. If we have active setup on 15, 5 is still valid. Yeah, why not? You have confirmations, no? But it's not textbook, right? You need to check the other analysis. What's daily doing? What's 4 hour doing, you know? You keep trying to trade mechanically. It's not mechanical. You can't just say, okay, this happened. Otherwise, you just code everything. Entries are mechanical, but you need to do everything else. You need to check what's happening on daily, what's happening on 4 hour, you know? Because, like, you could say the same thing now, right? 15-minute tap, 15-minute resistance. 30-minute tap, 30-minute resistance. Should you just press sell right now? You can. Check daily for a 5-minute? Yeah, for sure, man. 100%. Don't disregard the daily. If you're trading a 5-minute sell right at the daily support, you're gonna get cooked. Like, even if you sold on a 5-minute, here, look, check this out. Ready? Let's draw a line. And let's go to the 5-minute and see this daily support here. You ready? Check this out. See? This is a 5-minute time frame. So if you were looking for sells here on the 1-minute, 5-minute, look what happened. You got cooked. But this was a daily. That's how this line came. It was a daily. Right? See it on 1 minute. Look how accurate on 1 minute. The 1 minute literally reacted exactly at it. That's a 1 minute time frame. But it's a daily. See the difference? On a one-on-one call, you explained about me Top Step 49 plan. I know you are not promoting them, but we talked about completing the challenge and all. Still trying to understand how it works. That's exactly how I told you it works. It's the same, no? You pay the fee. You have two choices. You can either pay 109 or you can pay 49 and then pay 150 later. Exactly what it says on their website. Nothing different. So if you pass the challenge, you have to pay 150. But on the 109 package, on the 109 package, then you don't have to pay that activation fee after you pass. That's just how they do it. Exactly what they mention on their website. It will say 49 plus activation fee, 109 or whatever they charge, 105, I forget. No activation fee. But everything is the same. Rules, everything the same. Apex has big discounts, yeah, but their consistency rules and stuff like this is a big headache. If you've never passed a prop firm challenge in your life, you know, and you're trying to get a payout, then it's not going to be the best way to get a payout. I get more confused by the day. It's crazy. Yeah, man, you need to focus on simplifying your trading through having the correct approach, man. Wow, what happened? What do you mean, what happened? News? What's pushing? Nasdaq or something? Oh, yeah. Maybe some news, yeah, definitely. Massive candle on Nasdaq. GJ did something? What did GJ do? Yeah, shit. GJ as well, also massive bounce. I'm not sure. We'll wait a little bit for financial juice. Gold is not reacting at all, so I don't know if it's news, guys. It might just be a market play, because if it's news, why isn't gold reacting? You know? Because surely news will affect the whole market, but we're seeing this just on indices and stuff. Look at this. US 30. Actually, US 30 looks nice breakout here on US 30. Let's see. Juan has already got it. Wars, no one's interest. Every rational diplomatic path should be used to reduce tensions. Okay, that's very interesting. So like he's trying to hint at de-escalation. Right? That's what I said. If we have de-escalation talks, it should continue up. Lack of de-escalation talks will continue down. But again, he's just talking about de-escalation. Nothing has happened, guys. Nothing has happened. So it doesn't mean that we are out of the woods here. We have Frankfurt open here in about 1 minute. Quite like the idea of selling down into these ranges here. Sell the news type event. Let's see. That news is old, came out 10 minutes ago. True. Let's refresh and see if there's anything new. I think it's just a market. No, it didn't come out. Yeah, you're right. It did come out 10 minutes ago. So yeah, definitely just market participants, man. We're just seeing, this is what I mean. It's scary when we have one person, you know, reacting in the market here. It is scary. All right, London open here, popping up. Let's see. DAX should have gone up, I guess. Yeah, it went up. Now it's flipping bearish. If DAX can close below here, I'll be interested in a sell on DAX, to be honest. If not, I'll be looking for maybe some breakouts, but we have a lot of room to break out. US 30 looks very interesting today with the way we've closed above here. If we can create 5-minute structure and close above 5-minute structure, I'd be very interested to see the buys. And then gold as well, we are tapping into this resistance. This is where I had my initial buy plan above. We have no bottom wick just yet. Would like to see that be made. Then we can see if we can look to capitalize off gold. Potentially we can look for 15-minute closes above here. I just don't like trading back into the previous range. So let's just see how DAX forms. US 30 is interesting me, man. If we can create 5-minute structure, we have a really good gap here that we're right in the gap zone. So the only threat is this section here, which is our previous range before the gap, which we have a little bit higher on that asset. So we're gonna keep an eye on that. Gold is rejecting the resistance. I never trade US 30 in London session, so I don't know if it's gonna be a good idea, but we'll see. Just give me a sec, I'll go to the toilet quickly, guys, and be back. Look at gold trying to push up here. I'm glad we didn't just sit and wait for sells here. This is the exact point of the patience. You know, I'm glad I didn't say 1 hour is rejecting, 30 minutes is looking bearish, you know, and just try to follow an idea of looking just for sells. That would have been a very bad idea then. Guys, I go to the toilet and you guys leave stream like, come on, man. It's just a toilet break. Can you guys relax? Jesus Christ, look at this. Like, we get people coming in and it's like, okay, he's taking a toilet break. Bye-bye. Poof. What? It's like, bro, I'm not even allowed to go to the toilet. Like, it's crazy. It's good when you go to the toilet, wakes the market up. Yeah, exactly. Toilet volume. They're missing out on toilet volume. They don't know the secrets. They don't know the secrets. There's secrets. You should just go, you're going to feed the lobster? That'd be great. Guys, what if this is the manipulation for sells? You know what we've been seeing in London? How we just manipulate. You know, the gap likes to come up and be retested here. What do you think about Satoshi stablecoin? Bro, what the hell is the Satoshi stablecoin? I haven't heard of it yet. Who made it? US 30 trying to continue up here. You don't buy at breakout, buy at retest? You could buy at breakout sometimes, yes. Nasdaq is trying to break out. If Nasdaq breaks out, we break out into this gap zone here. 3 minutes for this 15 to close would be Nasdaq breakout. US 30 here. Might have a thunderstorm. At previous 15 on futures? Yeah, I see that. That's what I was checking. Here we're not, but on futures we are. don't take a pause for trading. Taking a pause for trading is not bad if it's going to refresh your mind. You just have to do a pause that is well thought about, you know. Check Nasdaq here if we closed above. I don't think, no. The US 30 is at previous 15 on futures. If we can get a 5 closing above there, will be nice. We're trading US 30 in London just for today. It's a good close below that one. Just a massive target. I would watch the beginning of the gap here. I'm afraid Nas might swipe the highs and then come back in the range. Yeah, totally possible. Hello, bro. I got some recommendation. I got recommended you by someone from TikTok messages. Oh, nice. He's profitable and he sent me to you. Thank you for going live. Appreciate you thanking me. Looking for Dow closing above? Yeah, that could work here if we can get a close above. Close above and then it should just give us volume. If it doesn't, then you probably have to get out. Both Nasdaq stuck at current 15 high. Stuck also on US 30 there. Took gold on flip after closing above. Clean move. After closing above where? Where did it close above? Oh, maybe my line is a bit wrong. Oh yeah, technically it did. Yeah, my line was not there. Where did you put stops? Here? 70 pips. I think the tighter stop's too risky. Only 1 minute structure there. You need to run a bit wider stops, give it some breathing room, especially you're taking it on flip. Because if you take on flip, you need breathing room because you're not taking it break of a high. So continuation is not guaranteed. Right? Because it could flip, then come back bearish, break the low, come back. You need it like back in the ranges. Give it some room. Right? Could easily just wick below here, retest this on a 1 minute candle. Just like this. Tick and then go up. So maybe something below here is going to be a lot better. Like this. Right there. Instead of here, you're there. That makes a massive difference. USD JPY 15-minute good setup for sell, right? Can you give your view? It's a setup 1. It's in a setup 1. You just have a bigger target, so it needs to continue selling off for the whole session. But yeah, it's a setup 1. Yohari, how are you, brother OG Mentor? I'm just $400 away from my futures account to clear. Gonna join the group soon. Waiting from a long time. Cheers, man. And welcome back, bro. Nasdaq trying to break out here. Would you have used the body of the 15-minute instead of top wick? You can't because the 5-minute has nothing there, you know. So it's hard because if UJ decides to pull back now, which it had not made any structure right now, it's gonna pull back. If it pulls back here, you can get stopped out, you know. Nasdaq trying to close above here. Trying its best. Harry, was the gold 15-minute buy valid? If you put lower stops, yes. Could try it. My line was a little bit higher, so I didn't even see. Nasdaq still failing to close above. After liquidity grab, I'll take S5 on NQ. Yeah, it could work as well. Would you be willing on a day like today with the gap potential fill? Yeah. I was looking at it. But this close, of course, I don't trust this type of close. Thank you for analysis on gold, was spot on. Appreciate it, bro. Yeah, now we're pulling back. Guys, I'm going to be trading with the guys in the exclusive. I appreciate everyone showing up to stream as always. I'll catch you tomorrow for hopefully some nice trades here. So yeah, should be fun. Hopefully see you guys tomorrow. Do show up. Make sure consistency is key. Take care. Take care of yourselves. New York session. Looking forward to it. Always a banger. Much love, guys. And hopefully